listener production.
Hi, Natarsha Belling with you and welcome to the afternoon edition of The Briefing. Coming up in our deep dive, it's being called the wedding of the century, the $140 million extravaganza between multi-billionaire Jeff Bezos and former TV host Sanchez in Venice. Hundreds of celebrities, protests and even a foam party. What more could you wish for? We'll unpack all the details. But first, let's check the afternoon headlines this Friday, the 27th of June. A teenager has faced court after being charged with murder for allegedly fatally stabbing a man during a house party in Brisbane's north. Police say 58-year-old well-known businessman Greg Josephson, co-founder of Universal Store, was allegedly stabbed at Clayfield last night. It's believed a number of teenagers were at the house at the time as investigations continue. Meantime, an appeal hearing is underway against the sentence handed out to a police officer who tasered a 95-year-old great-grandmother in Nowra in southern New South Wales. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions filed the appeal on the grounds the sentence given to Christian White was, quote, manifestly inadequate. A prosecutor telling the hearing the former police officer gave Claire Nowland no way to avoid being tasered. Christian White was found guilty of manslaughter of the 95-year-old who fell to the ground after being tasered and died later in hospital. Mr White was sentenced earlier this year to a 2-year community correction order and 425 hours of community service. The Prime Minister has brushed off pressure to match NATO's massive defence pledge, saying the federal government will spend what's needed, not what Washington demands. The Prime Minister says we're already lifting our military spend after the US government called on Australia to increase its defence budget. This all comes after NATO allies agreed to increase their defence allocations.
We have increased our defence investment. We've increased it by $57 billion over the medium term.
And Anna Wintour has stepped down as American Vogue's editor-in-chief. The 75-year-old, who's one of the most recognised faces in fashion journalism, made the shock announcement after almost 40 years in the role. Anna will stay on as Vogue's international editorial director. Now it's time to get into our deep dive with the extravagant wedding that's making headlines around the world.
Look at that. That is just one of many multi-million-dollar yachts that we're seeing here in the Venetian Lagoon as some of the world's richest people are coming to Venice for this wedding and the wedding event.
They're all there for the wedding of Amazon founder Jeff Bezos and Sanchez.
So much to unpack, including the surprising Aussie angle. Journalist and culture editor Maggie Zhou joins us right now. And Maggie, this wedding is between, we know, billionaire Jeff Bezos and Sanchez. Now, most people would know exactly who the Amazon co-founder is, but tell us more about this couple and Sanchez.
Yes, of course. I'm so glad that we're discussing what they're calling the wedding of the century. Jeff Bezos, as you mentioned, he is the CEO of Amazon. So he is the fourth richest person on planet Earth, and that is why we are talking about this wedding. And his soon-to-be wife, Sanchez, is an American ex-TV journalist.
So in regards to why it's got all the attention, everyone is watching this. There's been lots of controversy in the lead up to this wedding. We'll get to that in just a moment, but take us through the A-list attendees at this incredible wedding.
Oh, and there are so many A-listers that are coming. It is believed to have about 200 guests flying in. There are 90 private jets, which is many of them. And in terms of attendees, we've been seeing people arrive early. So we've seen Ivanka Trump and her husband, Jared Kushner. So many of the Kendall, Kylie, Jenners, all the Jenner and Kardashian clan are essentially here. So to pull out some names, Kylie, Kendall and Kris, as well as Khloe and Kim have been spotted, which are really making the headlines, to be honest. Other people we have spotted are actor Leonardo DiCaprio. We've also seen Gayle King and Oprah Winfrey come. as well as Bill Gates and Lachlan Murdoch. We have seen such a mixed bag of people, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Orlando Bloom also attending, and if the reports are true, Katy Perry is here in Australia at her concert, but they, as I said, if the reports are true, have recently split. So he is single and ready to mingle, one may say.
That is true, and he's been Snapchatting to Kim Kardashian, and this is a major talking point. As you're right, Orlando and Katie have just been reportedly broken off after a on and off again 10-year relationship. So it's pretty pivotal, especially when Katie's in Adelaide performing right now.
And Maggie, the cost. Everyone is talking about the cost. There seems to be no expense spared in regards to this. What is the estimated cost? Because I've seen everything from about $40 million up to $150 million.
You're right. I mean, weddings are expensive. We all know this, but I think that this wedding has blown it out of the water. So current estimates are placing the wedding cost to be about 70 to 85 million AUD, which I just can't wrap my head around.
And interestingly, there have been a lot of protests in Venice. So set the scene. It's in Venice, one of the most beautiful Italian cities, or one of the most beautiful cities in the world. This has been a 5-day extravaganza. Let's start with the foam party, though, before we get to the protests. Unpack for us what happened with the foam party.
Oh, I know. Bezos and Sanchez had a foam party on a boat, and this is just one of the many events that the couple are throwing. It's a 3-day affair, and we don't know all the details yet. For obvious safety concerns, they are keeping specifics under wraps. But there's also a rumoured pajama party. I don't know if you saw that, as well as a Great Gatsby-themed party.
Wow. And the foam party, if you just want to visualise this, was, of course, Bezos and his wife-to-be embracing passionately, covered in foam, on board a luxury yacht.
I have seen so much criticism leveled to this couple, and you're right, they have garnered quite a few protests. There's been a few different groups behind it, but they've kind of come together under the slogan, "No Space for Bezos." And the main criticisms are saying that, Venice is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's already got millions of tourists flocking there every year. And it seems like Bezos is kind of turning it into a playground for the rich.
So in regards to the protests, there were, some criticism. Apparently Venice Council came out, the local Venetian authorities came out defending this, saying we are a city who welcomes anyone. And then in their defence, how much money is being pumped into the local economy. And we know Venice depends heavily on tourism. And they were alleging that some of these protesters had been hired protesters. But one of the posters, when it was unfurled, or one of the protesters had unfurled a huge big placard saying if he can, meaning Jeff Bezos, can afford to buy Venice, he can afford to pay more tax.
Exactly. This banner was unveiled at St. Mark's Square, and it was mainly driven by Greenpeace Italy and a group called Everyone Hates Elon. So this is a big sentiment that's been going around. I think it's mainly about the wealth kind of lavishness that's been shown during this affair, especially when we know that, Amazon is obviously one of the most profitable conglomerates that we have in the world. It's just, in the face of the cost of living crisis, it doesn't sit well with a lot of people.
Maggie, what do you think the fascination is with this wedding right now? Because so many people can't get enough of it.
I think we, as viewers, have such an interesting love-hate relationship with celebrity. We, I think, are so entertained by their lives that can feel so different to us. And it is really entertaining. Like, I'm watching on kind of in awe, but also in a bit of disgust. So I think there is a bit of that escapism element. But I also think we are just so jaded, like so much is going on in the world at the moment. And to see the 1%, live so freely and joyfully is a weird dichotomy. So I think we are attracted to that.
And I love this, Maggie, just to finish off on this lovely chat we're enjoying. There's an Aussie angle to this multi-million-dollar wedding. Now, if you can follow this, Lauren's ex-husband, I think it was her second husband, Patrick Whitesell, is now married to the Australian actress Pia Miller.
And Pia Miller, of course, was from Home and Away, right?
Yes, indeed. So there's your Aussie angle. It's got everything you wish for.
I love that.
We wish the happy couple all the best. Thanks so much for joining us, Maggie.
Thank you so much for having me.
That was journalist and co-host of Culture Club, the podcast, Maggie Zhou. And that's it for this episode of the afternoon edition of The Briefing. We'll be back with the weekend briefing, and on tomorrow's episode, Antoinette is joined by MAFS reality star Karina Mirabli.
So then he comes to bed and he's just like laying there like a tin soldier, huffing and puffing. And I was like, what is going on? I was like, are you okay? And I was like, let's discuss this. And then he didn't like that. He goes, I need to go for another walk. And I said, you know what? I was like, oh, good. I'm going to bed. And I turned over, and then that's what made him just bang. He just got so angry and he got up and he punched the wall.
We'd love you to subscribe or follow us on Instagram at The Briefing Podcast. I'm Natarsha Belling. Thanks for your company.